Charles Soule and Andreas Genola put the rebellion on the offensive as General Organa begins planning a series of public strikes against the Empire to prove to the galaxy that the Rebel Alliance will not be beaten so easily. Charles Soule continues his Rebel Alliance storyline with another great chapter that, instead of focusing on some adventure Luke or Leia or Chewbacca goes on, it focuses on some new characters he's been introducing, and in this case the characters of John and Bev and their two kids, Imperial officers who want to do the right thing and warn the rebels of a new Imperial threat rising. Soule is no stranger to introducing us to new characters to the canon, be it with the Pathfinders earlier on in this series, Poe Dameron's parents, to the various characters he invented for his Poe Dameron series and even Lando series, and I always enjoy it since we are given a new perspective of the Star Wars universe, and this time we get to see it from the everyday person's point of view while under Imperial rule and working for the Imperials, and it was refreshing to see them just being normal people who are just doing a job and who at one point believed in what the Empire could bring to the galaxy and could bring some type of stability and order to them, but thanks to what Palpatine is turning it into, a dictatorship and a police state, they have begun to resent what it has become. Not only are these regular everyday people, but John is also Kira's nephew, which also raises a few questions like, does Kira have a sister or brother, or is it nephew in the idea that she took him in and she's sort of like the aunt in the family sort of thing? I'm intrigued to find out what exactly is going on in there, and I imagine Soule has an answer, being that he's building this big saga around Kira. The big reveal of the issue, however, is left for the final page, where the base the couple have been working at and escaped from to warn the rebellion about is the second Death Star, still under construction. The reveal was brilliantly handled and really helped signpost just how close we're hitting to Return of the Jedi, and maybe we even might be starting to get some post-Return of the Jedi stuff within this book among the others. Andreas Genola joins the series as artist with a fantastic first issue that delivered some fantastic Star Wars action in the front half, with the rebellion attacking the Empire in a grand way, but mainly some great character moments throughout the book, especially with our new characters whose frustrations and stress in deciding what to do with their lives and how to escape the Empire comes through in Genola's work super well. Star Wars issue 26 was a fun dive into some newer characters to Charles Soule's run on the book, exploring the lives of some everyday people under the Empire's rule, while also tying it into the Crimson Dawn saga he's been telling, and even Return of the Jedi. I'm going to give this issue a 9 out of 10. Star Wars issue 26 heads to Barleth, where the Imperial Unity Day parade is well underway, showing off the might of the Empire and even some new prototype ships. Suddenly, the rebellion, led by Wedge Antilles, descend on the parade, destroying the walkers and transports as Imperial General Palton demands his men get to their fighters and return fire. R2-D2 picks up the fighters launching from an airfield just outside the city, so Wedge directs Luke and the others to retreat since they have made their point. Wedge reminds Lando that he's to follow them, but Lando reminds them they're in the Millennium Falcon, so they'll catch up since they're not done blasting the Imperials. General Palton is angered that the TIEs won't catch up in time, upset that they didn't even get a single shot off at the rebels, as his officer asks if they should cut the holonet feeds and cam droids since they are still live, but the general thinks that it's too late for that. Secretary Osrand and Ambassador Givens aren't happy the general couldn't keep them safe, and Palton agrees, telling them the Emperor must be informed, and it's a conversation he thinks will be unpleasant. Back at the fleet, Wedge leads a toast to the Rebel Alliance and their victory, as Leia thinks that the win was amazing, but Luke believes they earned it, and it's been a long time coming, and it was all thanks to Leia's careful planning. Luke tries to excuse himself so he can get done reading the Jedi book he found recently, knowing that even just holding it makes him feel connected to the Force. But before he can leave, Evan asks Luke if they can see it, wanting to see if they have the light on their side. Luke relents, igniting his golden lightsaber to the amazement of the gathered pilots. Later on, Leia meets with the other leaders of the rebellion, congratulated on her victory. Leia is glad that they could help provide the ships and people on the mission so deep into the enemy territory, but Mon Mothma says that they saw the true value of the mission and the galaxy hadn't seen the rebellion for months since they have been on the run from Hoth, and the Imperials outright claimed victory over them, but thanks to this new attack and win, they have bloodied the Empire's nose in a very public way, and the attack was seen by the whole galaxy, and they all know now that the rebellion aren't cowering away somewhere. Leia thinks the war won't be won in one battle, since the Empire has too many ships and soldiers, so they'll need to win it over an endless series of tiny fights and acts of defiance by people everywhere who want to be free. And while they are smaller than the Empire, the galaxy is bigger than any empire could ever be. Commodore Greg had hoped that the rebellion would be a little bit bigger by now, and Harrison Dula agrees since they burned through their connections while pulling back together after Hoth. Admiral Akbar agrees as well, wanting to re-establish their contacts with intelligence assets and rebuild their supply chains. Leia reveals that Kira of Crimson Dawn has offered to help them, and she assures Mon that they can use Kira since she seems to hate the Empire as much as they do, and they have some mutual friends as Leia has left Amilyn Holdo in charge of setting up some deals with Kira, and she will make sure that Kira pays the price. Greg asks what their next move is, so Akbar suggests more missions like the Unity Day one, missions that are very public so they can show the galaxy the Empire are vulnerable. Greg thinks that sounds too slow, but Mon likes that since the longer they are there fighting the Empire out in the public eye, the better. On the Imperial facility codenamed Second Son, Major Sharon asks Moff Gigerod if he knows why she is there, and the Moff knows that she's an ISB agent and her being there means there is a security issue. The Major doesn't like that he's trying to lighten the tone in the wake of the rebel attack on the Unity Day parade, something Gigerod didn't even know about since the facility is isolated from the most HoloNet channels for security purposes. Sharon tells him his standard policies are why she is there in light of Commander Zara's failure to kill the rebel fleet, so the Empire sent her to review security at all of their black facilities. She demands to know everything about the security measures so she can discuss the adjustments she will have to make. Gigerod introduces his aide, Lieutenant John Melton, who will go over the security procedures. Melton lists off how the communications are kept tight and everything is monitored, with codes changing twice a day while outgoing transmissions are all flagged and traced. Heading to a supply hangar, Melton shows Sharon that they receive secure shipments that are picked up from dead drops, with no delivery pilots knowing the final location of the supplies they deliver. The staff meanwhile all live on the base for the duration of the project, and no leave or secondary assignments are given out, with many bringing their families along as well, and once they arrive, they will not be allowed to leave until the project is complete. Sharon knows that can't be all, so Melton reveals that they have a robust internal security system, and bounties are offered for reporting transgressions of any kind, be it from hygiene violations to more serious matters, which means everyone is always watching everyone else, and they all believe in the project. Gigerod hopes that the ISB agent is satisfied since they have it locked down, but Sharon wishes to see these robust measures in action, planning on staying to observe before she reports to the Emperor. Sharon leaves as Gigerod tells Melton to keep an eye on her, not wanting any surprises from her. The aide agrees before returning to his office, taking a moment to center himself for his work. He begins reading from his datapad, surprised at the information he has found, as at the docks, the supply loading crew finish up for the day, with their team leader Bevelin complimenting everyone on a good day's work, wanting them all to knock off a few minutes early. Team asks if she's coming to the local bar, and the woman knows she won't miss it for anything, knowing that if she doesn't see them there, however, she'll see them at work tomorrow. Bev heads home to see her husband, John, who tells her they need to talk. Bev says that she's going for a shower, but she turns on the water faucet to cover the sounds of them talking, masking it from the bugs that cover their room. John reveals he got a message from his aunt Kira, which says that she is activating John and Bev, but they don't have any specific orders, only told to cause chaos amongst the Imperial ranks. Bev thinks that Kira is up to something big, so she thinks that being that they are on one of the biggest secrets of the Empire, the rebellion ought to know about it. John thought about that as well, knowing they can't just send a message out to them and they would have to leave the base, and if they are caught, they'll be killed. Bev wonders how could they do this, but John already has a way, knowing that it's not about if they could do it, it's about if they should do it. Bev remembers that they started working for Kira thanks to what the Empire was becoming, and everything Palpatine has done has proven them right, but doing this means they risk everything. Melton tells Bev that every once in a while, life gives you a moment that tests your notions about who you are, and he thinks this is one of those moments, asking the love of his life if they are part of the Empire's machine of death, or are they something else. Major Sharon meanwhile finds Moff Gigerod runs a tight ship, impressed with his protocols, telling him that she enters many of these assignments expecting the worst. The Moff thanks her for her compliments and assures her the project will be completed on time. Sharon doesn't doubt it, bidding him farewell as she readies to head to Mount Pasval to conduct another investigation. Upon boarding the shuttle, Sharon discovers her usual pilot isn't there, but it's too late as Bev grabs her from behind, snapping her neck and telling John to go. John tells her to go check on the kid, kids, so Bev checks and reassures their children that it's all okay, and they are just going on a trip as the shuttle takes off from the second Death Star.